Thomas Reed never meant to uncover a secret that could destroy him. He was just a small-town journalist chasing a local corruption story. Until one night, a misplaced government file crossed his desk. Inside were words that changed everything. Operation Glass Veil. Within days, Reed vanished without a trace, his discovery buried by the very people sworn to protect the truth. What he found was more than corruption. It was a web of hidden crimes, secret experiments, and a decades-long FBI operation so dark, it was never meant to see the light of day. In 1989, the sleepy town of Harrison, Virginia, was the kind of place where nothing ever happened, until a local journalist named Thomas Reed stumbled upon something that would change everything. Reed was investigating what he believed to be a simple corruption case involving a city councilman and missing development funds. He'd built a reputation as a relentless but fair reporter, someone who believed in truth above all else. But one late evening, while digging through forgotten archives in the courthouse basement, he came across a folder misfiled in a box marked Property Assessments, 1977. The file's label was cryptic and out of place. Operation Glass Veil. Inside were black and white photographs of men in suits standing beside unmarked trucks under the cover of night. There were receipts for heavy equipment, cargo shipments, and transfers to unnamed facilities across state lines. The most chilling pages were partially redacted documents stamped Confidential, Federal Eyes Only. Some sections mentioned civilian monitoring, covert funding, and containment protocols. Reed knew he had stumbled onto something far larger than his small-town beat. He took copies, intending to verify their authenticity with a contact in Washington. That night, he called his editor, saying only, "If what I found is real, people are going to lose their jobs." It was the last time anyone heard his voice. The next morning, Reed's car was discovered near Lake Culver. Doors locked, keys in the ignition, and his press badge on the seat. The ground around the car was undisturbed. No signs of a struggle. Police ruled it a disappearance, possibly voluntary. But those who knew him said he would never walk away from a story. Within a week, his apartment had been searched by federal investigators, who offered no warrant and took his typewriter, papers, and cassette recorder. The original file vanished from the courthouse, and all references to Operation Glass Veil disappeared from the public record. The story might have ended there, another mystery lost to time, but 7 years later, strange financial leaks reignited interest. In 1996, a federal accountant anonymously released bank data linking several FBI field offices to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg. Each transaction was tied to shell companies that traced back to private defense contractors. The money, millions of dollars, was unaccounted for in official budgets. Buried in the documents was a recurring note, Glass Veil Fund, internal allocation. The whistleblower vanished soon after. But before disappearing, he sent one final encrypted email to a journalist. "They're funding something they can't explain. When you follow the money, you'll find the missing people." That message ignited a quiet panic among those who tried to investigate. Some journalists who looked into the offshore accounts reported being followed. One was fired from her newspaper for fabricating sources. Another died in what police called a hit and run, though the driver was never found. The deeper the digging went, the more people vanished or recanted their statements. Then, in 2001, a classified memo leaked from within the FBI referred to legacy containment measures related to Glass Veil. It confirmed the operation existed, but gave no explanation for what it was. In 2003, the case resurfaced again when a woman calling herself Evelyn reached out to a true crime podcaster. She claimed to be the daughter of an FBI informant who had worked under Operation Glass Veil. Her father, she said, had recorded conversations in which senior agents discussed covering up unauthorized killings. Assassinations made to look like suicides. These deaths allegedly targeted journalists, corporate whistleblowers, and even low-level agents who knew too much. Evelyn said her father hid the tapes in a storage unit under a false name before he was erased. The podcaster, known for her skeptical approach, verified enough of Evelyn's claims to believe her. But a day before releasing the episode, her studio was broken into. Every hard drive was taken. Backups disappeared from cloud storage. The next morning, Evelyn's phone went dead, and her apartment was found empty. A single note was discovered in a trash bin. "They're still watching." The podcaster quietly retired and refused to discuss the case again. Around that same time, strange activity began in the small town of Clearwater, Montana. Residents reported unmarked helicopters flying low at night and men in dark uniforms moving through nearby forests. Some described strange electromagnetic disturbances, phones losing signal, power flickering, and a steady low hum that lasted for hours. Locals who tried to investigate said they were stopped by armed men claiming to be federal contractors conducting environmental testing. A few months later, those same woods were fenced off and declared restricted territory due to toxic contamination. Years later, a declassified memo confirmed that the site had been used during the 1980s and early 1990s for experimental data suppression projects. The project name, buried deep in the paperwork, was again Operation Glass Veil. It appeared that the FBI had partnered with private corporations to test advanced tracking technologies, programs that could alter or erase digital records, effectively deleting people's existence on command. The local townspeople who spoke to the press about it slowly left Clearwater. Some simply disappeared. By the mid-2010s, Operation Glass Veil had become a myth, a rumor whispered in online forums, dismissed as conspiracy theory. But in 2022, a hacker collective called LanternGate changed that. They uploaded a small encrypted file containing what they claimed was the final report of Operation Glass Veil. Within the file were chilling details, a list of containment, subjects, descriptions of controlled media, suppression, and references to civilian information, neutralization. The report suggested that the FBI had, for decades, been running secret programs to manipulate public perception, control journalists, and hide illegal experiments. It hinted that dozens of missing person cases had been tied to individuals who interfered with classified containment procedures. Within hours, every post about the leak vanished from the internet. Social media accounts that shared it were deleted, and independent sites hosting the file were shut down. Even backup archives on the dark web disappeared. LanternGate's final message read only, "They found us." The group was never heard from again. Since then, small fragments have continued to emerge, redacted memos, half-burned photographs, and whispered testimonies from retired agents. One former FBI archivist claimed anonymously that Operation Glass Veil wasn't shut down, just renamed and merged into a larger network of classified programs. "It was never about one mission," he wrote. "It was about building a system to erase anything inconvenient. People, records, truth, it doesn't matter. Once you're inside the veil, you cease to exist." To this day, the FBI officially denies the operation ever existed. When journalists file Freedom of Information requests, they receive a standard reply, "No records found." But deep in old government ledgers, the term still appears occasionally under obscure budget codes, small traces that refuse to vanish completely. Every so often, a new researcher digs too deep, and the cycle begins again. Thomas Reed's name has become a ghost in American journalism, a man who uncovered something he was never meant to see. His disappearance remains unsolved, his work erased, but whispers of Operation Glass Veil continue to echo through hidden corners of the internet, through anonymous letters and recovered fragments. What began as a single file in a courthouse basement became a haunting question that has never been answered. What is the truth the FBI tried so hard to bury? Some believe the answer is still locked away in a forgotten archive, waiting to be discovered. Others think it's already too late, that the operation succeeded beyond anyone's imagination, rewriting reality itself. Whatever the truth, one fact remains unshakable. Operation Glass Veil stands as one of the most chilling legends in modern history, a secret crime that was never solved, because the people who could solve it were made to disappear.